This is when you know you and your business are officially ready to start a podcast, and it's probably not the answer you've been telling yourself. The perfect time is not when your schedule finally clears up, or when work slows down, or when the kids are finally out of school, or when all the equipment you are ordering off of Amazon finally shows up. The perfect time to start is not a clean calendar. It's not a better microphone, but if you did get a better microphone, I highly recommend this PR37. But it's not a better microphone. It's not some magical Monday where life suddenly gets organized. And if you're a coach, you already understand this in many, many other areas. Like you wouldn't ever let a client tell you like, oh yeah, I'm going to start getting in shape once life calms down. You wouldn't just hear that, nod, and agree. But for some reason, you give yourself that exact same pass when it comes to starting your podcast. So let's deal with the real thing that's blocking this, because every week you wait is more missed reps, more missed authority, more missed chances for the right people to find you, right? So, for example, I was talking to a friend not that long ago. Really good dude. He has a really cool message. He actually has like a good group of people that he could help. And he told me he was interested in starting a podcast. And then as we start getting into it, then came the reason why he wasn't starting it yet. He said he was waiting for summer because that's when the kids would be out of school and life would feel a little bit easier once that time came. And look, like I never am ever going to discredit what my boy's telling me, right? And I wouldn't discredit anybody who also has like a full life that they're living, right? He's busy, his family matters, work matters. All of this is real. But I told him the thing that most people already know, and they just don't want to admit it. Summer is not going to arrive with a gift basket full of free time, right? When summer gets here, some other reason is going to show up right on time, whether it be travel, more family stuff, another work push. Like, I don't know, you might be gassed from trying to keep up with everything, so energy is still going to be low. It's always something. Like, it always is. And so what I told him was, I'm like, look, dude, like, cause he's a coach and, I don't like doing this to people, but sometimes you kind of have to, what I say is like, you have to Mark Bell them, because you can come to Mark for like anything and he'll just crush all your excuses. But I was like, look, you're a coach, so I don't mean to coach you, but you already know that when summer comes, something else is going to pop up. So I'm not discrediting what you just said. If you have, June 1st as the date that you want to get started, sick, let's go with it. But let's go with that with the understanding that that date's going to come and the time, the energy, the responsibilities are not going to just magically disappear. So let's lock that date in. But let's also understand that nothing's going to change. So he, to his credit, he understood it immediately and he accepted that advice and he appreciated it. Because like, this is not really a podcast problem. Coaches see this pattern all the time. And it's again, kind of going back to what I just said, it's I'll start my diet after the holidays. Then the holidays pass and it becomes, after this trip, that's when I'm going to get started. Then it's like, I got this lunch business meeting thing. So like after that, I'm going to start tracking or whatever it is. It's after things settle down at work. It's like, it's the same excuse. It's just like the title of it becomes different, but it's basically the same thing every single time. So that's why I want to make this as clear as possible. The issue is not that you'll have more time later. The issue is that you keep imagining a future version of your life that somehow has less friction than the one you live right now. You think your future will finally have a clear vision, like you'll have a clear head. You'll have that open schedule. You'll have the better studio setup. But again, like for most people, like that reality, that version of you never shows up. Life doesn't hand out empty seasons. One full season easily rolls into the next one. And if you don't buy into that, like think of how fast summer comes and goes. You have all these plans, right? Like, we're going to go do this, or I'm going to go do that. And then like that first weekend hits where it's like, oh, it's summer. And you're like, but we have all summer to get to that thing. And then all of a sudden the kids are back in school, right? Summer comes and goes, right? That season just poof, gone. And again, this is where coaches should catch themselves pretty quickly, because you already know how this goes. Nobody gets healthier by waiting for a month with no stress. Parents don't suddenly become less busy. Business owners don't wake up one day and find a quarter with no demands, right? There's always something going on. You start in the life you actually have, not the one you keep hoping that is coming. So yes, you are busy. Yes, your job matters. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that like podcasting should be your top priority. You know, your family matters. Like, give me a break. Like, that's like priority number one. And I just, no, that still doesn't mean a perfect start date is coming, right? Like, because of all this stuff, like, we can't just like fabricate this imaginary future. And that's the shift. Readiness is not, I finally have free time. Real readiness is, I can see that this will never feel clean. So I'm just going to start even though it's not perfect. That's a way stronger mindset, because now you're not waiting for conditions you don't control. You're making a decision based on what you do control. And once that clicks, something interesting happens. The schedule excuse usually starts to lose power, but then a new excuse pops up pretty fast, actually. It just puts on a different outfit and it keeps trying again. Again, it's that resistance thing that I talked about in the past. Like, where there's more resistance, that's usually like your guide. But this is the part where the delay usually takes it shapeshifts. It puts on a new dress. Because at first it sounds like, oh, it's just a time problem. But once you start questioning that, it turns into it's an equipment problem, then a setup problem, then a confidence problem, then a branding problem, then some weird technical problem that you don't even know like is a thing yet until you start to like dive into it, right? Like, you didn't even know that existed 5 minutes ago, but now that you looked into it, oh, I got to worry about that thing that you didn't know existed. And you've probably seen this happen, in your own head. You think, okay, maybe I could start, but I should probably get a better mic. Then you look at mics and now you think, well, if I'm going to get a microphone, I should probably get a camera too. And if I get a camera, then I should probably work on some lighting. And then I got to figure out like the recording software. Then I should probably dial in my like name, cover art, intro, branding, and just like that. You could have started like a week ago, but that turns into like a 6-month project that you never even start. And just being real, like, I get into this a little bit myself, right? And like, here's a perfect example. Let me see, what side am I on? Okay, so like, if you look at this acoustic panel right here where my finger's at, it's crooked and it drives me insane. But I just said, screw it, I'm going to keep going. And if you look at this side, we have 2 panels, right? That's because this one that's right here fell right before I hit record. So I could either fix it by spraying like the spray-on glue, and then either let it sit and then let the fumes, escape the room, or just sit in the fumes and deal with it. Or I could just hit record, right? Because waiting for perfection, I guess I just didn't want to use that excuse right now. And that's just real life. Like, it was not meant to happen that way, but it did. And am I pissed off that it happened? Yes. But in this example, I get to use my situation as a perfect example for not being perfect. But anyway, I just wanted to point that out, that like, I go through this stuff all the time too. And I'm going to get more into that in a little bit, but just know that even myself, I still battle with that to this day. But anyway, the thing that most people miss is this: when one excuse disappears, another one shows up, because that excuse was never actually the problem. And that's why this feels so familiar to coaches. You've seen clients do this with training for years. They say they'll start when they find the right gym, right? When, when they get better equipment or they get better shoes or get better gym clothes, whatever the heck it is, right? When they find the right program, when they feel more comfortable and they feel more confident in the gym, when they lose a little bit of weight first before they go lose a little bit of weight. It's really funny. I have a story about that one in a second. But it's discomfort of the beginning, right? You feel like you're not ready, so you make up all these excuses. And podcasting works in the exact same way. And this is what I was getting at with this acoustic panel right here that fell down. But again, it happens to me too. And I've been around this stuff for a very long time. That temptation for things to be perfect still exists. I still to this day look at better gear, better equipment. I think maybe this next piece will make everything smoother. Maybe I need this upgrade. Maybe I should tweak this setup. But honestly, there is never going to be a final version where everything is done and now you're officially ready forever. Because tools keep changing, platforms keep changing, your style evolves, right? If you wait to feel fully set, you'll wait through like every version of yourself and every version of the freaking internet, right? And technical readiness is not the same as creator readiness anyways, right? You don't become ready by owning better equipment. You become better, you become ready by publishing, by listening back, adjusting, and doing it again, right? We call that getting the reps. Same with confidence. Confidence does not show up and then you start, right? That's like you don't get super jacked and then you go to the gym. You start and then the confidence slowly builds from the reps. Nobody gets strong before touching the bar. Nobody gets less awkward in the gym by staying home until they feel fit enough to go back into the gym. Again, so this is what I was talking about. So like back when Super Training Gym was still open and free for anyone to come in and train, I heard it all the time. Yeah, I'm going to go to ST once I get strong enough. And I would always respond with like, well, you get strong enough by training at Super Training, right? The reps create the strength. The reps create the comfort. The reps create the skill, and the reps create the identity. So let's break it down. Let's bring down all the barriers, like right here, real quick, in one quick sweeping motion, because I know you have this because you're probably using this right now to check out this video. If you have a phone, you officially have enough to start. You can record a solo podcast episode on your phone today and get moving. But I get it. Sometimes you kind of need that extra push. You need that thing to feel professional and, feel legit. So if you want one real purchase, that's absolutely worth it. Excuse me. There it is. I'm not even drinking soda today. I'm drinking electrolytes. Still can't get over the burping. It's just kind of been plagued with that for a long time. But if you want one real purchase, again, I highly recommend this. I've been recommending it since day one. It's the Samsung Q2U. It's a microphone that can plug into damn near anything. It's about $100. It sounds incredible. And it's more than enough to get started. Right? The early production does not need to be perfect. It just needs to be a useful message, clean audio, and consistent reps. That's it. Right? Not perfect lighting, not a perfect set, not a, perfect polished branding. Like I didn't have that, but like all this stuff, like it's not some big content machine. You just need something real, something helpful, and something published. Like exclamation point on published. That's what you actually need. Because if you don't watch this pattern closely, you'll keep solving fake problems while the real one stays untouched. And that's where the cost of waiting starts becoming a lot bigger than you might think. This is where the conversation stops being about like a mindset thing and starts being about actual cost. This is when, I don't want to cuss anymore, but this is when stuff gets real. Because waiting to start a podcast is not just delaying a fun creative project, although it is very fun, but it's actually it's delaying visibility. It's delaying trust building. It's delaying all the moments where the right person could have heard you, understood you, understood how you think and decided like, hey, like this is actually the coach that I want help from. The part that matters way more than what most people realize is this. If nothing is published, then there's nothing for people to find. Nothing to binge, nothing to send to a friend, nothing to listen to on a walk and think, yeah, this is exactly what I needed. And because there's nothing out there, there's no way for your message to keep working when you're not actually in the room. That's the hidden cost of waiting. Your content can't build authority in silence. And I've seen this in my own business. Like, this is legit, man. This is as real as it gets. Some of the content that led to calls and conversations and people asking about the Fitness Authority Academy didn't come from some perfect polished piece of content. None of this stuff that I've published on this channel officially felt ready. Every single time I hit publish, I debated on whether or not I should even hit publish, because I still question everything I do. I'm trying to get better at it, trying to just set it and forget it, but it's real. I don't feel like any of this stuff is officially ready, but I do it anyway. It came from just putting in, the reps, of course, but it has led to other things, even though it wasn't perfect, right? It was a little rough around the edges because, that's just the way it was, but the point landed and the right people heard it. And that's the part that a lot of coaches miss. People are not only buying your information, they're buying your thought process. They're listening for how you explain things, how you solve problems, what you emphasize, what you don't tolerate, what kind of standards you have. Long form content gives people a real feel for you in that way that like short form content simply can't. You're super jacked, right? So like a physique can impress people. A good social page can capture a lot of attention. A few testimonials are definitely going to help, but none of that automatically builds that deep authority if people never get to actually hear from you, like your actual thoughts, like who you actually are. And that's why podcasting is such a strong trust building tool. Someone can spend 20, 30, 40, 50 out, like they can spend a lot of time with you and hear your tone. They can hear your clarity. They can hear whether you actually know what you're talking about or whether you're just like, you just know how to post really good stuff on social media, right? Because you can be really good at social and like hide behind 60 seconds, but you can't hide behind 60 minutes or 30 minutes or 20 minutes, whatever it is. That kind of exposure moves people faster. And like, that's the best, that's the like biggest reason for all of this is like, again, I've talked about this in the past, that know, like, and trust factor. You can build that through podcasting way better than you can with short form. And this is pretty interesting. And the reason, like, this was like the last straw in creating this, this video today, because I actually had a discovery call this week with a very high level coach. And dude, like this guy's doing what a lot of smart people do, right? And he's crushing it. He's absolutely crushing it. I can't wait to work. I'm just like, pray for me, y'all. I really want to work with this guy. He wanted to start. He knew that this was absolutely the thing he needed to do. He could already see like the value and everything that I was bringing to the table if we teamed up together. But he had to push the start date back to when things like started to chill out, right? He wanted to push things back till after this like season of this last push started to calm down and things started to open up. Again, I hope our calendars like align because this is going to be really good. But it was so crazy that in a very high level coach, I saw the exact same pattern. And it's not because he's lazy, because he's definitely not because he didn't care, but it seemed like he was delaying it just for like because delaying feels like really good. It gives you that false sense of relief. You get to say, yes, I'm going to do this, just not yet. How many of us have said that in the past? I'm going to go do that thing, but let me go do this over here first, right? It gives us like that excuse. And that little not yet, it keeps the pressure off while quietly keeping the results away too. That hurts. So if you want something to be afraid of, don't be afraid of your first episode sounding a little awkward. Don't be afraid of the lighting being a little bit off. Be more afraid of staying invisible. Be more afraid that a year from now, people with less experience, less skill, and less like actual ability to help people are getting the calls because they were willing to publish when they were still trying to get ready, right? Every month, silence is costing you. Fewer inbound leads, slower trust, slower authority, fewer chances to raise your prices, fewer examples of your methods working in public. And once you really see that, the question changes. It's not, do I feel prepared enough? It's, how much longer am I willing to pay the price for waiting? So if readiness is not a clear schedule, a better, microphone, or more confidence, whatever, then what actually is it? And honestly, it's much simpler than most of us make it seem to be. You're ready to start this whole podcast journey when you know you have something useful to say that's really going to help people. You're ready when the idea keeps coming back to you, not because it sounds cool, but because you can feel that there's a message inside of you that people they need to hear it, right? You have that calling, freaking pick up the phone and answer that call. You're also ready when you want more clients. That's an obvious one. But you also know that the current pipeline for getting referrals is just not a real growth plan. Referrals are amazing, but they're inconsistent. They come when they come. A podcast gives you a way to build, it gives you a way for people to hear you and trust you before they ever talk to you. And that's something that runs 24/7. That matters if you want something a lot more stable than just hoping people hit you up. And here's another sign. You want a real authority in your space, not fake authority built on trends or TikTok dances or, whatever the trendy hook of the week is, right? Trying to game the short form attention game, right? Not that I hate that. It's just I'm not saying short form has no value. It definitely does, but it's not where people are really getting to understand you. Long form is where people hear your standards. It's where they hear your depth. It's where they decide whether you actually have something worth listening to. And this next one's huge. You're ready when you're willing to be seen when you're not perfect, right? That's a hard one because most people stay stuck in that learning mode and call it preparation H. They keep researching, planning, comparing, tweaking, and waiting. But at some point, that stops being thoughtful and it just starts being avoidant, right? This clicked for me when I started thinking about the questions I was answering on consult calls. People weren't asking me questions about tech and equipment. I really thought that's what people needed, but it's not. They were asking me things like, how do I find time to podcast? Or what if I'm uncomfortable being on camera? Things like that. And so I started telling people hey, stop consuming information and start executing on it. That's the shift from consuming into doing, from overthinking into reps, from collecting ideas into shipping something real. A lot of smart people are overloaded with information and starving for execution. They don't need another week of prep. They need to record one freaking episode. So make today practical. Don't turn this into another big abstract conversation. I don't know, I'm challenging you a little bit here. Record a rough solo episode on your phone, or, if you want, get that Samsung Q2U. I have a whole video on basically how to set up a podcast. It's just a couple videos back. I talk about the Q2U. I talk about the Heil Sound PR37. If you want that whole breakdown, that's there too, right? Testing out different formats here. But yeah, if it's an equipment thing, I have a whole video on that. I'll link it somewhere. But do that, right? Or sit down and just simply map out 3 episodes that you can record, right? Just get some ideas on paper, a Google Doc, whatever. Do something that's going to get you closer to publishing. Don't just consume this video, bookmark it, save it for later or whatever, and just be oh yeah, I want to get to that eventually. If you're watching this, I hope you can execute on what I'm saying today. Excuse me. Because once you begin, everything sharpens. Your voice gets clearer, your message gets stronger, your offers get a little tighter, your confidence starts to grow, your authority grows, but none of that happens before you actually start putting in the reps. So here's the whole shift. The right time to start is the moment you stop expecting life to get clean and decide to execute in the middle of all this mess. That's a good one there. This week, do one simple thing. Record that one episode or buy the microphone or write out those first 3 ideas and like legitimately schedule a recording date. That's kind of what I always push people to do. Is like, hey, if you can sit down and be like, I want to record on this date, there's a really good chance that that'll actually happen. But keep the bar low, right? Keep the message clear and get things into motion. If you want help building authority and turning this into a real client growth system, check out the Fitness Authority Academy below. It's the first link in the description. And, you know, I've been having a lot of fun interacting with you in the comments here on YouTube. So if you have any questions on any of this, just hit me up below. I'm an open book. Right now, very easily accessible. So please take advantage of that. And hit me up with questions in the comments and just pursue it. Peace.